That is correct. That's exactly right.
Thank you.
Shelter in its place.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
And trustees, well, before we get started here, for items, just so that we're not jumping all over each other, if you're all okay with it, I'm going to actually ask for a motion from particular trustees. I'll just go in alpha order from item to item. So, I might say, Trustee Honeychurch, would you like to motion, for this next item? If for any reason you're not interested in that item passing or being motioning, just say pass, and I'll go to the next one. No question asked.
This is Trustee Young calling back in. I can hear you now.
Okay.
Great, we can hear
Can you
you.
hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Yes.
I can hear you this time.
great.
Great.
Okay, good.
That. Oh,
you. Yes, I can hear everyone.
okay. I think that will help just prevent too much talk over here. So, but I think we are almost there.
Okay. Do we have a quorum?
Yes, we definitely do. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then, so we're missing. Actually, we have 5. 1, 2,
Yeah.
3, 4.
And you.
Yeah.
So we do have a quorum.
All right.
Okay.
Oh, we turned. Sorry.
I turned it off. so
We did turn it off for a second. Sorry.
Okay, yeah, turn it back on. Now it's nice and loud.
Sorry about that.
I have a question.
Yeah. Go for it.
Is the Zoom a delay picture
Yes, it is.
on Zoom?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
Yes.
very good. Thank you.
It's about maybe 4 seconds or so delay. We were listening to it earlier.
We'll look younger on the video.
Okay, it's on the screen. Are we supposed to see, I'm just seeing one person, or do I have to click on the arrow?
You should click on the link and it should open up, and depending on the camera that's being used, you'll see those of us on the dais, and then you may see the vice presidents.
Right now.
Okay, I have watched this video on your YouTube. Okay, I may not be able to watch it. That's okay. If I'm not, I'm not.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Well, as we have quorum and we're about time, we're still waiting on a couple others, but I'm going to go ahead and get started. Hopefully they'll arrive here just in a minute. Calling to order the Solano Community College District Governing Board meeting of April 1st, 2020. With those on the phone and those in present, please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Justice for all.
May we have a roll call attendance vote?
Trustee Honeychurch,
Here.
Trustee Martin,
Here.
Trustee Thurston,
Here.
Trustee Young,
Here.
President Voice.
Here.
So we have a quorum.
All right. The following edits and clarifications should be noted in the agenda. Agenda item 10C, personal service agreements, has been pulled from the agenda. Trustee Honeychurch, would you make a motion to approve the agenda?
Yes, I move we approve the agenda.
And could I get a second from Trustee Martin?
Trustee Young, second.
All right, it's been motioned by Trustee Honeychurch and seconded by Trustee Young to approve the agenda. Is there any discussion on any agenda items? And for these ones, if you'll just start by saying your name and then I'll address you. All right, hearing no discussion, then can we have a roll call vote?
President Voice,
Aye.
Trustee Honeychurch,
Aye.
Trustee Martin,
Aye.
Trustee Thurston,
Aye.
Trustee Young.
Aye.
Motion passes.
For members of the public, we have posted a email address to comment members or to make public comments via email or in person, and so we're accepting any types here. Are there any comments from members of the public for closed session items?
No.
Okay. Before we,
I'm on. Hello?
welcome, Trustee Carr. We are live here. Thank you for joining.
Okay. Thank you.
Before we adjourn for closed session, I do want to say a huge thank you to Tom Gotches and James from James Thomas Media and Professor Greg Poff for doing the extending work of setting up today to be able to live stream and capture all of this in this time. So thank you very much. And with that, we'll adjourn to closed session and we'll reconvene at 7 o'clock. reconvene the regular meeting. The board held conference with labor negotiators for CCA, CTA, NEA, CSEA, and operating engineers Local 39, and no action was taken. The board discussed public employee discipline and dismissal release, and no action was taken. The board held conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, and no action was taken. At this time, are there any comments from members of the public? I also want to report out that we have a full dais here on the phone as well. We've had joining from Trustee Kara, Trustee Chapman, and Trustee Ritzinger. All right, item 10, consent agenda items. All matters listed on the consent agenda are considered to the board to be routine and will be enacted by the board in one motion. There'll be no discussion on these items prior to the time the board votes on the motion unless members of the board, staff, public, or request specific items to be discussed or removed. Time will be provided before the vote for clarification questions without removing the item from the consent agenda. Trustee Carr, would you make a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Yes,
All right. And Trustee
I'll
Martin.
make the motion.
And Trustee Martin, would you like to second that?
Second.
It's been motioned by Trustee Carr and seconded by Trustee Martin to approve the consent agenda. Are there any discussion on this consent agenda? All right, with that, we'll have a roll call vote.
Trustee Young,
Aye.
Trustee Thurston,
Aye.
Trustee Honeychurch,
Aye.
Trustee Martin,
Aye.
President Boyce,
Aye.
Trustee Chapman,
Aye.
Trustee Kara,
Aye.
Student Trustee Ritzinger.
Aye.
Motion passes.
There were no items removed from the consent agenda items, so that brings us to item 12, non-consent agenda items. Action items, first one being 12A, a resignation to retire. And I'll hand that for comments first from our superintendent president.
Yes, we have two individuals who, of course, are not here, as they are adhering to the executive order. Susan Beavers, who was here for 6 years and 10 months, in our student services generalist, and her last day was yesterday. And then
I don't know if you hear me, but I've lost you.
We can hear you. Yes.
okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Okay.
Great.
So Howard Craig Yamamoto, who was Director of Financial Aid, was with us for 1 year and 2 months, and his last day was March 27th. So we just want to acknowledge both of them did tender their resignation for March.
Trustee Thurston, would you make a motion to approve?
I move that we approve item 12, A.
And Trustee Young, would you like to second?
I second it.
All right, it's been moved by
Trustee
Trustee.
Young.
Well, it's been moved by Trustee Thurston and seconded by Trustee Young to approve this resignations to retire for these two employees. Any further discussion? All right, roll call vote.
Trustee Kara,
Yes.
Trustee Thurston,
Aye.
President Boyce,
Aye.
Trustee Honeychurch,
Aye.
Trustee Young,
Aye.
Student Trustee Ritzinger,
Aye.
Trustee Chapman,
Aye.
Trustee Martin.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, item 12B, approval of a memorandum of understanding between Solano Community College Early Learning Center and Solano County Office of Education. Trustee Chapman, would you like to make a motion to approve?
Yes, I move for the approval of agenda item 12B.
And Trustee Honeychurch, would you like to second?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded for approval. Is there any discussion or questions?
Yeah, this is Trustee Young.
Go for
The
Trustee Young.
subject, correct the spelling of learning. The N was left out in the in Learing. Before it's posted online.
Yes. We will make that correction. Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions or discussion? All right, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Trustee Martin?
Aye.
Trustee Young?
Aye.
President Boyce?
Aye.
Trustee Thurston?
Aye.
Trustee Chapman?
Aye.
Trustee Honeychurch?
Aye.
Trustee Cara?
Aye.
Student Trustee Ritzinger?
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, item 12C, contract change order number 1 for Armor Petroleum Services for Equipment Corporation for the Aeronautics Nut Tree Facility Propane Heating Repair Project. Trustee Carr, would you like to make a motion to approve?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Motion approved 12C.
Trustee Martin, would you like to second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for approval. Is there any questions or discussion on this item? All right, hearing none, may we have a roll call vote?
Trustee Cara?
Aye.
President Boyce?
Aye.
Trustee Young?
Aye.
Trustee Thurston?
Aye.
Trustee Honeychurch?
Aye.
Trustee Martin?
Aye.
Trustee Chapman?
Aye.
Student Trustee Ritzinger?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Next up is item 12D, contract change order number 1 to Pacific Lift Equipment for the Autotech Dyno Room Reconfiguration Project on page 22. Do you have a comment, Superintendent?
I just want to give time for us to explain a little further once
Sure.
we get the motion on the table.
Sure, thank you. Trustee Thurston, would you like to make a motion to approve?
I move that we approve item 12D.
And Trustee Young, would you like to second?
And second it.
All right. It's been properly moved in second. Are there any discussion items? And I'll go first to our Superintendent President.
Yes, I'd like to ask our Executive Bonds Manager, Lucky Lofton, to provide a brief explanation on this particular item.
Thank you, Dr. Esposito-Noy. This particular item is a change or an improvement to the original contract was to add a lift that would help take care of the engine hoist into the dyno room. The original project was moving that using cherry pickers. So this is a permanent hoist that will allow a more safe arrangement for the students and the faculty to actually lift motors into place for the engine dyno. This particular item is simply an item that was left out of the loop during the procurement conversation. The contractor doesn't normally provide bonds for a lot of the commercial work, but we required them. So this particular change order is just simply to include the bonds that we normally would expect to have doing business with us, a public agency.
Question?
Is that Trustee Chapman?
Yes. Lucky, ordinarily, bonds are required. It's like surety, a bond, isn't it? Where it's required by law. And so that the contractor is required to take that out once they get the project. Am I correct or incorrect?
So we, as a public agency, are required to have our contractors provide these, and it's included as part of the cost of doing business. When contractors bid jobs, they normally include the price of bonds in those bids. This particular project was negotiated directly with this contractor. There's the Autotech group works a great deal with this particular vendor, and so they had worked with this vendor to develop a scope of work that they wanted to address, because the particular need that arose after they started teaching in the new facility became apparent to them, that they needed a safer way to lift the engine into the dyno room area. So this particular project came about, as the faculty developed the need, worked with a vendor. The vendor provided a price. Unfortunately, there were a couple of people within our group that weren't present. I was dealing with family emergencies. Our purchasing director was out on medical leave. And the communication to this contractor about the requirement for the bond was left out of the process. So we're correcting that. It came to light. We're making sure that we have that bond in place. And my apologies. It's unfortunately, I wasn't present at the time.
Oh, okay. Because, yes, okay.
Question?
It's a little out of the norm, but I understand.
Yes, and thank you for that explanation here. Trustee Martin, you're next.
Yes, so my question is why is this not gone out to bid? Was this something, I understand that you did it kind of in-house, but that doesn't, I don't know, is that a normal thing to do for something like this? Because faculty would like to have it.
Well, there's sort of a couple of different aspects to this. So let's first deal with how we hire contractors. I may turn to Rob Diamond to help here a little bit. We passed or entered into an agreement with the UPCA program, which allows us to negotiate projects up to $60,000. If we weren't part of that program, we would be limited to $15,000, which is where we used to be a couple of years ago. We were fortunate in that when we hired Victoria Lamica, she was able to bring this program into our college. I used this same program when I was at Ohlone, and I know other community colleges use this same program, because $15,000 is such a small amount of money to do very small projects. You're virtually bidding out every $20,000 project. Well, it costs us a great deal of money and time to bid these projects out. And so the state has passed law that allows us to enter into this process of negotiating up to $60,000. I hope I'm explaining that correctly. I'm turning to Rob Diamond.
Okay.
And the board adopted that agreement maybe 2 years ago now.
Right.
Yeah.
It's been a couple of years, and since then we've been able to negotiate $20,000 and $30,000 and $40,000 contracts, bring them to the board for approval in a much more time-efficient, cost-efficient way. Instead of, it takes days, weeks, and months to bid some projects out, and that takes a great deal of staff time to shepherd and manage. And this has been a tremendous benefit to the district.
Is it still Martin?
Question? Do you feel comfortable with this type of thing are you thinking you're getting the best bang for your buck on this when you're doing it that way?
So what
Without going out to bid on some of these, for a $60,000 project, are we getting the best deal?
Right. So what we typically do is we will review the pricing and compare it to other projects that we've done, or we will have estimators review the pricing. We have professional estimators that we work with, and they give us a sense of whether this is an in the ballpark price. Oftentimes we will negotiate based on our estimator's value and what the contractor is proposing and come to a better price. So there are checks and balances that we use in order to ensure that we are not overpaying for anything that we're doing. I hope that helps.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Any further questions or discussion items from trustees?
No.
All right. With that, can we maybe have a roll call vote?
Trustee Martin?
Aye.
Trustee Young?
Aye.
President Voice?
Aye.
Trustee Thurston?
Aye.
Trustee Chapman?
Aye.
Trustee Honeychurch?
Aye.
Trustee Cara?
Aye.
Student Trustee Ritzinger?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Item 12E, a lease agreement approval to Sonoma Scotsman Incorporated, DSA pre-approved modular classroom for the early college high school program at Fairfield campus. I don't remember where I left off. Trustee Chapman, would you like to make a motion to approve?
Sure. I move to approve agenda item 12E.
And Trustee Honeychurch, would you like to second?
Yes, I second the motion.
Are there any questions or comments from trustees?
I have a question.
Yes, Trustee Carr.
I just think, I understand, but it might be sensible to actually explain if Madam President can explain of the $77,000 for a lease and why it's so expensive, just to put it in the record. Because I was surprised at the amount myself, so I'm sure other people are too.
Sure. I will defer to Lucky Lofton on that, but essentially, we're not just paying for the lease of the two items, it's also the delivery and the installation, and there are multiple steps involved in order to bring this to DSA and Field Act compliant. But I can have Mr. Lofton explain further.
Thank you, Dr. Esposito-Noy. There are three parts to this particular quote. There is the delivery. Moving these buildings is a significant effort. There's setting the building, and then they'll be included in this price when they price it to us. The removal of these buildings is already built into this price. So the lease itself is several hundred. I want to say it's $900 a building. It's not terribly expensive to lease these buildings, but the transport and installation is where the significant cost comes from.
Does that answer your question, Trustee Carr? Okay. I'll make a comment too that I plan on abstaining from this vote here. My employment isn't determined by the presence of the early college high school program, but I do teach for the early college high school program, and so when we are approving items, just in margin of clarity, I'll abstain from voting on this one. Any other trustee comments or questions? All right.
No,
With that, can we have a roll call vote?
Trustee Cara?
Yes.
President Voice?
Abstain.
Trustee Young?
Aye.
Trustee Thurston?
Aye.
Trustee Honeychurch?
Aye.
Trustee Martin?
Aye.
Trustee Chapman?
Aye.
Student Trustee Ritzinger?
Aye.
Motion passes with one abstention.
All right. Those are all of our action items for tonight. And so thank you, Superintendent Esposito-Noy, for keeping things to brief in this time to make sure that we are addressing the things that do need to still happen to make this college still run. And so we appreciate that. Item 13 is for, there's no informational items tonight. Item 14 was for announcements. And so are there any announcements?
Yes, I would like to mention this. I would like for trustees for you to keep my brother in your prayers who lives in New York City. I got a call about 5:10 this morning. He's a retired veteran and in the hospital. Was admitted yesterday in New York City. He was diagnosed as having that COVID-19, and he's on a ventilator. So I've not been to them since this morning when I talked with him. His wife is across town in another hospital. She had major surgery on her breast, and then was getting radiation treatment. And about a month ago, she couldn't walk and could stand. So the daughters are going from hospital to hospital taking care of both parents. And my brother turned 86 today.
Oh my gosh.
So
And who is this?
This is Trustee Young talking.
Yes,
It's my
who's
brother.
the individual? Who's the individual with the COVID-19?
He lives in New York City. My brother lives in New York City.
Okay, I got you. I hear you.
Trustee Young, we will keep your family in our thoughts and prayers, as that is a trying situation.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Any other announcements from trustees or anyone? All right. Item 15 is for items from the board. Are there any items brought forward from the board? Hearing none and having no closed session to return to, we'll it brings us to item 19 for adjournment. And so I'll go out of order and ask for.
The motion.
Yeah, there we go. I'll go out of order and ask for Trustee Honeychurch's motion.
Yes. I hope everybody's well, and I move we adjourn the meeting.
It's been motioned by Trustee Honeychurch. Is there a second?
Yeah.
Resounding second. Trustee Carr and Trustee Young here both seconded, so we'll go with both. To adjourn the meeting here. Any
With
further?
me, I'm sorry, it was Thursday.
Oh, I'm sorry, Trustee Thurston. All right.
That's all right. That's all right. Never mind. That's fine.
Can we get a roll call vote to adjourn the meeting?
President Voice,
Aye.
Trustee Chapman,
Aye.
Trustee Cara,
Aye.
Trustee Honeychurch,
Aye.
Trustee Martin,
Aye.
Trustee Thurston,
Aye.
Trustee Young,
Aye.
Student Trustee Ritzinger.
Aye.
Motion passes.
I thought we are adjourned. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you,
Thank
trustees.
you for conducting.
Clearly, the music doesn't affect my dancing. You're still hot there. We're always hot in this room. No, I'm serious. Oh, the microphones pick everything up in this room all the time, 100% of the time.